G'day folks, here's my look at two underrated Aussie death metal bands, Innsmouth and Earth. G'day folks, Jeff here, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing our second look at some underrated Aussie metal bands. We're doing Innsmouth from the Blue Mountains and Earth from Melbourne. And again, this is just bands that I consider underrated, and not underrated in Australia, but more the rest of the world. So I like to spread the love around, as it were. So yeah, anyway, let's get into Innsmouth. First up, we have the Mountain Boys, Innsmouth. They're from the Blue Mountains, which is just west of Sydney. This band were around from 2008 to 2016. Sadly defunct. They had one demo, a couple of EPs, and an album, so not enough, if you ask me. They were bloody killer. It's mostly slow to mid-paced death metal, with pretty raspy kind of vocals. As far as similarities go, I hear a bit of Cauldron Black Ram, South Australia band in there, maybe a bit of Arm Angel as well. It seems like simple, no-frills kind of death metal, but there's some evil melodies and tricky sort of stuff. I mean, you're probably not going to like this if you're into, hot, overly technical, ever-changing death metal, but this is a bit more drawn out and longer sort of songs, but bloody works well, if you ask me. I have seen them rated as sort of blackened death metal, but I don't really hear it other than maybe the vocals a bit. Maybe your old, really old black metal, Samael or some of the Greek bands, but yeah, certainly not faster, nastier ones. It's not quite death doom either, it's just slow death metal, I think is probably the best way to put it. And they get some killer Lovecraft influenced lyrics as well. I'm not usually much of a lyric fan, but their one's bloody excellent to read. A couple of the members are Neil and Bo, who are brothers. They're initially in, I think they were death metal, I don't actually have their early stuff. They're in a band called Pogrom for a while, which morphed into Across the Scarlet Moat, which is really not my favourite band name. Eventually they joined Elysium, which is a death metal, doom band, I think. I haven't listened to this for bloody ages, I should put this on. From Sydney, they eventually kind of morphed into Stonewings, an excellent death doom band from the same vicinity. And plus, they were both also in good old Grenade. Bo was a singer and bassist, and Neil was a drummer. So, yeah, they Grenade kind of imploded after 3 out of the 4 members left or were kicked out. So, yeah, anyway, Innsmouth formed after that. So, and the third member is Todd, who was also in Stonewings for a while as well. So, yeah, lots of doom background, but yeah, this is pretty much just death metal. So, yeah, let's get into their releases. Their first release was from 2009, was The Departure of Shrub-Niggurath, which is a classic Lovecraft elder god or outer god or some form of god. This is a killer bloody demo it was recorded in like 1 day, so it sounds pretty amazing, I reckon. It also came out on big fancy record, so you can admire the goat and his penis, which is also on this shirt, which, yeah, I had to dig out of the the shed because, yeah, it doesn't really fit me too well. You're lucky this camera only goes to here. But yeah, this is a killer bloody demo. Real thumping sort of drums, really thick guitars, and that sort of dry, horrible, raspy sort of vocals. It works really bloody well. I think it was, from the look of it, it was recorded by Anthony from Misery's Omen, even though he's listed with a slightly different surname. I don't know. Not sure what's going on there. I think he does a guest solo as well, but yeah, it's excellent stuff. It's 4 songs. I think Aloof with Cloven Hooves is probably my favourite song in there. It's just driving faster sort of beat and has this groovy little bass bit, and I think one of the few songs with a solo as well. But and Thrice is Thrice Blessed Shrub-Niggurath is another killer bloody song. Just killer riff that kind of reminds me of Asphyx a bit, which I'm not surprised. I think those boys don't mind a bit of Asphyx. So yeah, it's a amazing start. Really impressive bloody demo. I'll show you the innards if you like. It's nothing super exciting, but yeah, great artwork by Mandy from Merkrat and The Slow Death. She also did, I think, the next EP as well. Really killer style. Merkrat may get a run in a future version of these. This is another killer little band that I think Neil actually was in as well for a while. But yeah, this demo, friggin' awesome. I'm hoping, I don't know if you can still get a lot of these. I haven't looked because I own them all, so I haven't really checked, but you might be able to get this sort of stuff. But at any rate, there's links below for all of these releases. I think most of these are just YouTube links. The album itself, there's a proper Bandcamp link, but yeah, killer stuff. The next release was 2010's The She-Goat Quandary. This came out on Abysmal Sounds, as did the initial tape. Here's our penis goat boy again. For some reason this comes with like an extra wraparound cover that has nothing inside it. The same artwork on the inside, but I think possibly they realise you can't see that for shit, so hey, we better put this on. So yeah, there's that killer artwork again by Mandy. Does a great job. And the boys looking blurry out in the bush somewhere. So yeah, this is a nice little EP. This is the first song, it's two songs. The first song's the title track, is kind of nice and slow and lumbering along. I like these guys. They take their time. There's no sort of flashy, bang, it's over in 2 minutes jobs. These tracks are generally at least about 5 or 6 minutes long. Some really nice bass work on the title track as well. The next song, Submerges, it's a bit faster than the demo. Production on this, yeah, it's also by TT and really not the greatest on this, what I gotta say. Demo sounded quite a bit better, but it's a good little EP, let's put it that way. The next release was a split. This is a Plutonian Drug. They're split with Mongrel's Cross. Mongrel's Cross are, I don't know if they're still going, a Queensland sort of black metal-y kind of band. I haven't listened to them for ages, to tell the truth. But yeah, the Innsmouth side of this, with murky, dark cover. Yeah, it's only one song. It's the song "The Plutonian Drug," which still is pretty Lovecrafty looking, that's for sure. I'll show you the inside as well. So yeah, this is one song of each band. Pretty murky production, I've got to say. It's again at the what does he call his place? The Haunted Palace by TT. So yeah, but it kind of suits their style, I think. They certainly wouldn't sound amazing with this, overly technical production or clean. They really remind me of Cauldron Black Ram on this one. I don't know, there's something about the vocal sort of style to it. It's probably could be their fastest song, although we're not exactly talking about blast beats. It's, they use a lot of galloping sort of style, which works bloody well for them. One thing I like about this one is the vocals. Occasionally he does this sort of, and just wipes out everything. I like a good vocal wipeout, as it were. Barney would be proud. So again, I can't even remember what the Mongrel's Cross side sounds like, but yeah, the Innsmouth, all good. Their full-length album is Consumed by Elder Sign. This one came out right at the start of 2014. This is also on Abysmal Sounds. And of course, I've got it on record as well, because why the hell not? There's the boys looking pretty tough. Some damn good power poses from the Dire Boys. Excellent work. Yeah, this is... comes with a nice little booklety thing as well, with lyrics and the likes. Yeah, this is the full-length album. This is recorded by Damon Good from like Mournful Congregation and Stargazer and most of the South Australian metal bands. Honestly, I kind of prefer the demo sound than this one. It's a bit too nice almost. The demo is just a bit more in your face, a bit simpler almost. But yeah, I mean, this is still friggin' killer, don't get me wrong. I just kind of prefer the demo. So this has got 6 tracks. They redo Thrice Blessed Shobnigruth from the demo. And then, yeah, 5 other songs. I think Dead in the Water, the first song's just, that's a killer opener. Just has that awesome mid-pace crunch and just a solo and a menacing kind of slower section in it. The second song, Telepathy, has got a huge bloody groove to it. Has a bit of the faster tremolo sort of stuff. 5 Branches Against Doom. It's also some sinister tremolo, and there's like a stomping sort of beat. He's a bloody good drummer, Neil. Underrated, I reckon. Born by the Winds is this weird sort of chanting vocals. Really could be a cult worshipping an elder god of some variety. Yeah, I mean, it does kick into a proper sort of song, but yeah, overall, freaking awesome album. Really nice sort of bleak cover art. This is not by Mandy. This is by Mark Appleton, aka Carcass, who was in various Sydney metal bands, including Bludgeoner and Miscreation. So yeah, it really adds to the doom and gloom of that. So yeah, killer bloody album. As I said, the sound, I kind of slowly prefer the demo, but it still sounds pretty bloody nice. They've added a few sort of keyboards and stuff that does add to the atmosphere a bit more, but yeah, it's great bloody stuff. These guys did play live over their time. I mean, they're only going for like 6 or 7 years, so I think I'll put some flyers up. I think I have more flyers than I actually saw them. I know I would have seen them at the Evil Invaders, various festivals that they played. I'm not sure if I saw them at any other time, to tell the truth, but it was went very well live. That's the perfect sort of style to play live, I reckon. The crowd sort of quite enjoyed it. So there was many a 2 years old toasting them. Yeah, I had this weird feeling that Carcass, the artist of the album, was going to sing for him live, maybe. I could be getting them mixed up with like Sacrifix, so yeah, at any rate, Bo did a great job live anyway, so don't know if they would have needed him, so I could be well mistaken there, but yeah, live they were bloody killer. So I'm not sure why they split up, but at any rate, for a while Neil was in this band Sacrifix. It was him and Tony, the producer of all most of the Innsmouth stuff, and guy from Misery's Omen and a few other bands. So yeah, these guys were World War One sort of themed band. Played not too dissimilar to Innsmouth sort of style, but yeah, according to Metal Archives, they're split up, and according to the Nuclear War Now main guy, and seeing he released all their stuff, I'm sure he'd probably know he was a die-hard fan. So yeah, it's a shame. Neil's listed as being in Merkrat still, but this Merkrat was a band along with Mandy, that sort of sludgy, horrible sort of band that I quite enjoy. They're still listed as active, but I haven't heard anything from there for donkey's years, so yeah, I wouldn't bet on that. Bo played bass for Lord Chaos for a while, but doesn't seem to be up to much these days. But yeah, it was nice to run into him at a wedding last year, I think it was, so that was good. Todd was in this band Crone along with Mandy and Everywhere drummer John from every Sydney band. These guys were sort of doomy style with Mandy singing pretty clean, I think she was. I did see these guys once at Evil Invaders. They were bloody killer, but this is it as far as I've seen, and I haven't heard anything more about them, so yeah, I'm not holding my breath there either. So it doesn't look like any of the boys are up to anything these days, which is a shame, because talented blokes, and yeah, Innsmouth left a bloody good impression on me, that's for sure. Alright, our second band of the day is Earth. These guys are from Melbourne. They're a Swedish melodic death metal sort of band with keyboards, lots of HM2 action going on. Not too different really than Cruciform were towards the end of their initial run, like, you know, lots of sort of death doomy kind of stuff with really prominent sort of keyboards. I mean, they didn't sound that similar really, they were a lot more Swedish sounding, but they started in 1993 but didn't release anything until 97. The main guy is Rob Molliker, aka Rob Wog as he calls himself. He's also in a Bramelin, and was in earlier version of a Bramelin as well. Plus he was in Engraved and Merciful Fate cover band that used to be called King Fate, now appear to be Merciful Fated or something like that, I don't know. Plus he was in Hobbs Angel of Death for a while, so he gets around, that lad. He was also, I'm not sure if he still is, part of High Voltage Touring, so promoter as well. So yeah, he's a good lad. And yeah, this band has like powerfully shouted vocals from Brendan. He was in Damaged very briefly. He played with them as a Medal for the Brain 1998. Did well. There's a lot of ex-band members of this band that I won't go through every single one of them, but for a while I had Chris Masochist from like Gospel of the Horns and Anatomy and Hellspawn. He was on the first album. They also had Tim from Bramlin and also briefly in Disembowelment. He played guitar in the early days as well. So I'm not sure if they're still going. They don't look to have played since like 2018 or so, but I have a feeling they're one of those, they're always up for a gig kind of bands. They did mention in 2020 that they were a new album, but I don't know, I'm not holding my breath. So yeah, killer Swedish death metal sort of style. So yeah, let's check out their releases. Alright, their first release was their Demo 1997. That's an imaginative title. Yeah, this one was self-released, as you can see. I think there's multiple versions of this, like Podgy Brothers. The two proper songs on this are Star Condemned and Of This Spell. My version comes with like bonus tracks of Prophecy Destiny and Children of the Grave, like a Black Sabbath cover, both of which just appear to be album versions of the... So, I'm not sure why, seeing the album was 2 years later. So, I think there's multiple versions of this demo. And yeah, it's pretty demo sounding. It's a bit muffled. The vocals are definitely a bit muffled and a bit sort of deeper than later. That doesn't sound as good as his sort of later style, I don't think. Guitars are a bit more prominent and the keyboards way too loud on this. But hey, the proper songs on this, Star Condemned and Of This Spell, are both redone on the first album, but they still sound pretty freaking killer here. I mean, it's only a 2-year difference between this and the album, I think. So, yeah, there's some reason that I think there's like an Apple Music version or some other online version has A Voice Is Heard, which is another of their songs that is not on my tape. So, don't really know what's going on there. So, it's a bloody good start, but unsurprisingly, the two songs sound much better on the album. So. But yeah, it's certainly got my attention, that's for sure. The first album that came out in 2000 was Star Condemned. This is the Aussie press that came out on Black Hole Records. I believe there was a Swedish press that also came out on Iron Fist Records. I haven't seen that one before, but this one was not too hard to get in Australia. I think it had MGM distribution, so got around. Yeah, this is probably my favourite of theirs, I think. This is the kind of, I'd say, their slowest album, although it's still pretty speedy in parts. It's longer songs than their later stuff. Kind of borderline death doom at times, but mostly just mid-paced, crunchy as hell death metal. The sound on this is bloody excellent. I mean, some of the songs are a little derivative. There's Endless Winter has quite the Paradise Lost sort of feel to it, but standout songs for me are the first song, Prophecy or Destiny, and also Of This Spell is definitely my favourite of theirs. Just has this crunchy killer sweet death riff going throughout, but it just builds beautifully with the keys and just keeps building and building, and then there's just this, yeah, mandatory headbanger climax that's just ridiculous, so good. I'm quite the sucker for stuff that builds up with keyboards. Like keyboards and death metal, like this ain't your Nocturnus sort of wanky stuff. This is subtly used, but probably a little more than quite would be defined as subtle, but works bloody well, I gotta say. It's nicely intertwined, it's not just sort of tacked on over the top. And yeah, Of This Spell is superb. Live, it was a killer bloody song. It's also got a sneaky sort of unlisted cover of Children of the Grave by Black Sabbath. So I want to show you the inside as well. There's, you know, your artwork and the like. This is dedicated to Lord Byron. But yeah, as far as the Sabbath goes, we used to play it on the radio. My old co-host Jonesy used to did this cool little mix of it where he'd play, I think it was the first half of the song would be the Black Sabbath version, and then he'd nicely, deftly cut it over to the Earth version just after that mega riff in the middle of it, and yeah, it worked very well. So, but yeah, this is my favourite of their albums. I think it's a bit more straight Swedish death metal, a bit less sort of Gothenburgy sort of style that their latest stuff kind of morphed into. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love their latest stuff as well, but this one is probably it for me, I reckon. Plus that cover art's just friggin' killer. None of this stuff came out on record or vinyl or anything, so it's a shame because I'd like a bigger version of that cover, but no. Well. Their second album from 2002 is The Bleeding Fields. Hence my spiffy shirt that I also dug out of the shed. Yeah, this is their second album. It's they're getting quite a bit more Gothenburg at the gate sort of style on this, but still with keys and slower bits. Also reminds me kind of Blood Dusters' rocky, kind of straight out of Northcote era sort of style. I mean, they're obviously good mates. I think Jason Fuller has, I don't know if he did production on this, but maybe the layout, and which I'm not surprised seeing that looks pretty similar to their straight out of Northcote CD. This one's a Winchester shotgun shell, no doubt, instead of a McDonald's drink container or whatever. So the Blood Duster one. There's also a bit of your Wolverine Blues sort of era style Entombed instead of the first two albums. It's got a real crunch to it on I think it's Born to Die. There's some similarities. This is mostly sort of shorter songs. They're only about like 3 or 4 minutes long, but they're a bit simpler, but the keys still add a lot to it. It works really bloody well, I gotta say. Live, I don't know, these tracks probably are a bit punchier live, I think, than the much longer ones from early. My favourite song on here is definitely Reign of Hate. It's just got this main chugger riff is just awesome, and then it's another mandatory headbanger when it kicks in. It's beautiful. Brendan sounds friggin' killer on vocals on this, and the drums actually sound really good on this. Rob's got a good style, and you can hear his killer grooves really well on it. This is production courtesy of G.W. Norton from Super Heist that also did like a million bands. Alchemist, Destroyer 666, Pod People, Mind Snare, a heap. So yeah, this probably sounds better than the first album, I think, but yeah, it does bloody well. I think Human Carnage is another killer one on this. It's just got this killer chug riff and keyboardy sort of bit at the end. There's another mandatory one. For some reason on this they redid Of This Spell for the third time. I mean, it's a killer song, don't get me wrong, but they didn't really change it very much, so it's just not quite the same lineup, but pretty similar, so yeah, don't know why they bothered, to tell the truth. This one actually has a picture of them with their replacement singer Terry, who didn't actually perform on this. Pretty much every single recording of theirs is with Brendan, even if he wasn't in the band when it was actually released, so yeah. But yeah, they had live, they had Terry from Order of Chaos, and I think I saw him with him a few times. He sounded just as bloody good. Don't think he was a member of Damage. Maybe he was for a while. Who knows? One of the cool things towards the end is they've got this rather silly sort of wah-wah pedal advert from like a radio spot from the 60s or something that's just real groovy, and it works really well. Right at the end, they've got a cover of another Sly cover that is not listed on the back, of Let Me Pour My Love Into You, Babe, by AC/DC. The vocals sound weird, and I'm not sure if they got Dave Evans coming in doing the vocals or someone else. It's just there's no other listing on the CD other than Brendan on vocals, but it's pretty cool. And right at the end, they got this rather silly version of them in the studio, all obviously probably had a few drinks, doing "We Are the World." It's very rock and roll. So, but yeah, this is bloody nice little album. This one. And their third and most recent album is Fear of Tomorrow, which came out in 2009. I only got this a couple of years ago because I didn't even know this existed, to tell the truth. I don't know how I missed it. The last two albums came out on High Voltage, which is not the hugest distribution, but I've still never seen this album in the shops or anywhere. I just contacted Rob on Facebook and just went, "Oi, can I have a copy?" So he did send me a copy. It's a full proper cover, but the promo CD of it, which is sort of doesn't have the proper, or has gaps between songs that you can tell probably shouldn't be there. So anyway, I'm happy to have an official version of it, or vaguely official. This is, I don't know this album quite as well. It's pretty similar to the Bleeding Fields. It's probably their strongest at the gates, sort of, Slaughter of the Soul style. And it even has a Tompa style go bit in it as well. But don't get me wrong, it's still quite original on their own style. Just has some borrowings from At the Gates, you could say. What is it? I think it's Gagged and Bound. The second song's probably my highlight on it. It's quite dismemberish in parts. And then just turns into an epic doom sort of song towards the end. It's quite varied and good. For some reason they got Sarah Jezebel Diva does like backing vocals on, what is it? I think it's on Don't Look Back. Not sure why. It sounds kind of nice. She's got that nice sort of style like she does for Cradle, or did for Cradle. This also has Human Carnage, the Requiem, which is not a redone version of the previous Human Carnage on the last album, but it's still a pretty bloody nice song in itself. Very epic, you could say. And they finish with, they finish with like a bonus track of Damned Forevermore. I don't know if that's a cover, or I don't know why that's a bonus track when there's no other version of this album. But they also do like covers. Some reason, and it actually surprisingly works well. They do like the start of Balls to the Wall by Accept, and then it morphs into Seeing Red by Minor Threat, which is like, it's probably about the only place you've ever seen Accept and Minor Threat merged into a song together. But as I said, works pretty well. Overall, this is quite a different sort of lineup. I mean, it's still Rob and what's his name, Brendan on vocals. Brendan kind of sounds a little strained on this, I've got to say. It's not his best work, I don't think, but overall, it's still pretty freaking killer album, but I do prefer the two previous albums to this one. So 3 albums from those guys and 1 demo, and that's it so far. But just killer Swedish death metal sort of style. Really, really well done. Just live, I did see them a number of times. I'll put up a batch of flyers. I think they played the first Rock Ape gig, even though there was gigs at that venue beforehand when it was called Finnegan's, but the first official Rock Ape gig was them and like Bloodduster, I think. So I mostly saw him with Brendan singing, and he did a great job live. They got into it. Looks like they played every Metal for the Brain from 1999 onwards, well, except for that ill-fated one where Destruction played to, wasn't an official Metal for the Brain, it was just a gig with Destruction playing. But Earth played all the other ones. I think they were good mates with the Alchemist boys. And they were very, very enjoyable live, I've got to say. Not enough bands that sound Swedish in Australia, that's for sure. There's very few of them, to tell the truth. So it was it certainly gave me my fix. I don't know if I saw them with, I think they toured a bit with Dismember on one of their trips out here, but I don't think they played in Canberra or Sydney when I saw them. So memory's a bit hazy there, I've got to say. They played a heap in Melbourne. I've not been to most of these gigs that I have flyers up for, but no, they were very fun live. I think the last time I saw them was the Fear of Tomorrow sort of lineup, and I have a feeling I don't think they played anything off the first album. I was a bit peeved at the time, I think. So mainly because I didn't recognise half the songs, but no. But now, I think they're still going, but as I said, they haven't done anything for, 6 years now, I think, that I've noticed. No idea. I mean, Rob's active in a Bramlin now, and maybe still a Merciful Fate cover band. Plus he has a sort of 70s rock band called Butterfly that I'll put a link to below that are pretty bloody tasty. I'd be keen to see those guys at some stage. They play in Melbourne a bit at any rate. John Sterling, one of the guitarists, is in Subterranean Disposition, along with Terry, the old vocalist, as well. They're both in that. It's killer, sort of doomy stuff. I think I've listened to that. I'll put a link below. Current keyboardist Sarah is in Electric Dynamite, Meridian, and True Believer. Bass players in Steel Affliction, that's Ben, and Brandon, the old singer. I've no idea, I haven't seen him in anything. And yeah, one of their previous keyboardists was Sean Hines, who's in like a number of bands. He's in Whitehorse and Void Christ and Sulphur Garden. He's a good bloke. So yeah, they're still getting around. As I said, I don't know if they're still actually playing live as Earth or doing any more recordings. I haven't seen any news out of them for ages. So yeah, I hope there's still more to come, but yeah, I'm not holding my breath. Alright, so that's two more Aussie metal bands that I think are underrated, and I really love both those bands, so I definitely encourage you to check them out. There's links below to everything I can find of theirs. I don't know if you can really track much of this down. It's probably via Discogs or eBay. You could probably get some. I don't think they are officially selling any of them themselves anymore. I don't think either has a Bandcamp or anything like that. I mean, I think there's the Innsmouth album is on a Bandcamp, but I don't know if there's actual physical copies for sale anywhere. But yeah, I'd highly recommend them. So let me know if you got any other requests of Aussie metal bands for me to look at. Yeah, I obviously like death metal quite a lot, so then we have a hell of a lot of black metal bands that half of whom don't know very well, so preferably death metal. But yeah, I'll keep thinking. I've still got a few in mind to do for this. The more obscure, the better sort of thing. But yeah, so thanks again for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers.